Do you need a sports coach? And how to benefit if you don't even play sports. So, hi, Will Perry here, here for another Keeping the Conversation Live video. So, do you need a sports coach? That's a good question, isn't it? Unless you don't play sports, in which case, that this doesn't relate to me, press pause or skip. But before you skip, we understand the role of a sports coach, do we not? We understand if it's a national team. I'm thinking of football recently. We understand how pivotal the coach is. We understand in tennis how pivotal the role of the coach is for the motivation. When you get to that percentage, and it's in motorsports, it's in every sport. When you get to that percentage, the top percentile, when it's there's tiny minute differences, the mind game, the body, the physical, everything, everybody's doing the same thing. The mind game becomes absolutely the differentiating factor in boxing, martial arts, everything. The coach is there to help identify and improve the mind. So the top, I quite like watching the MMA, and I find that fascinating. So the difference that the coach makes, it's not because they are the pivotal. Because if you're the world champion, then there's proven there's nobody better than you, or the next contestant could be, But the coach isn't the person. Maybe they know their stuff, but the coach isn't doing that. They're observing. They're asking questions. They're drawing more resourcefulness from you. They're not adding stuff. Okay, so that's the difference between coaching and mentoring, I think. But in the corporate world, so that's in the sports world, we understand implicitly what it is, and how important it is. When I was in the corporate world, going back a few years now, more than 10, more than I can't quick maths whilst I'm talking, two things at once, can't do it, won't do it. So 16 years ago, I'll come up with that. 16 years ago, when I was in the corporate world, it was starting to happen that it wasn't just the CEOs that had an executive coach. It was then middle management. If the company was big enough, if the company was forward thinking enough, middle management, not just higher end management, but the middle management would get a one-to-one personal executive coach. That was quite forward thinking at the time. Nowadays, it's expected. It's like that. This is the thing. This is the best investment in terms of training for development results, to have one-to-one coaching. So that's we understand that on the corporate level. If you're in development, if you've got experience in the corporate world, that it's commonplace now. Whether it was like this high-end thing back in the day for me, and I was an executive coach at the BBC. So it was understood at that level, all that time, and now it's just progressed to be more, expected and absolutely. A bit like NLP. NLP was a woo-woo back then. It was starting to be introduced on the fringes, and people were starting. Now it's expected. Well, can you do this quicker in half? This training in half the time. Can you use NLP, please? Because they think that, anyway. NLP techniques are understood better and requested very often. So things progress, things move on, and in that time we've had life coaches. People expect, understand, to move forward through a difficult period in your life, to move beyond your glass ceiling where you currently are, beyond your stuckness. That there are life coaches. Now, I'm not saying going back in, using that analogy, going back in when life coaches was first starting to come on the scene, and it was become an accepted thing. You could get a life coaching accreditation online without ever having gone through the rigors of one-to-one and support coaching and all that sort of thing. And going back in the day now, this is making me reflect. When the coaching industry was in its infancy, it was like the people that went through, the counselling, or that all the different therapies that are so rigorous. That coaching was new and in its infancy, and it didn't have that rigor to it. And you could have an online course that made you a coach suddenly. It's like, but that comes out in the wash. The people that have have got the accreditations, not just paper, the right approach and the right stuff. They'll come to the forefront with the people who have a little sticker, and want to go out there and change the world. It's great, but if they haven't got the right qualification, they haven't got the right approach, they won't last long. Anyway, so we understand about life coaching, but it's certainly what I've found in my experience, the problem that I focus on, the problem that I've discovered, the problem that I struggled with so long was a deeper one that not anybody else was doing. Because I could look at this and see I had all of these problems. Oh, holy moly! But how come when I tried to solve them, that I couldn't solve them, or I could only solve them to a certain level? It was like something was missing, and ping, that was the bit that I found at the centre, the mother of all beliefs. And what I've phrased as the mother of all beliefs, this dominant negative thought that's in my subconscious, actually, that was like, this was ruling everything. And once I found out, it was like, holy moly, this is I didn't even realise it was going all the time, firing off all my decisions, closing my options, limiting my life in so many different ways, leading to my self-sabotage. And how come I didn't see that? How come I didn't know that? How come nobody else is telling me that? How come? Mind blown. So not all life coaches delve to that level, not all courses. Most courses I've found are delivered by people with healthy self-esteem, without this negative thinking, for people just like them, with healthy self-esteem, who don't have this negative thinking. So for the majority of people that do have this negative thinking, it's like, they can't quite apply. They can't. Have you ever bought a course that you couldn't quite apply? You couldn't quite get into action. You couldn't quite, and it's like, there's that noise again. It keeps missing the mark somehow, and then you give up with it, or you try something else. You blame the course. You think it wasn't quite good enough, or it's like, you're a bit, and you can't do it. So that's a really tricky and difficult thing. It's taken me a long time to realise what is at the heart of it. And a coach, as awesome as coaches are, can't quite pull that from you, that what you can't see, what you don't understand, and also what they don't understand. So even if the information is coming out of you, they aren't skilled enough or aware enough of this lower 80%. It's pervasive, but not many people understand it to this level. That, and I don't mean that arrogantly. That you can't get, even though the information is coming out of you, the client, the coach isn't able to understand it. Even counsellors and psychotherapists, and aren't able to understand it to that level. Not all. That's just a generalisation over the years that I've experienced through myself and my clients. So how when you want to improve your performance, overcome something, but that's the real issue. That's the what's keeping you trapped. The belief at the center, but people aren't qualified or understanding enough of it to help you with it. What's going to make the difference? And how do you move forward from that? So what do you, if you want to move forward, using the analogy of sports, it's not the coach, that the coach is better than you. The coach can pull stuff from you, pull more resourcefulness from you. Then what are you going to do that's cognitively that's going to make a difference for you? What are you going to do that's going to break through this the glass ceiling? What can you do? And what do you need to do cognitively yourself that's going to make the difference for you? And that's, for me, coaching versus mentoring. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. That coaching is asking questions, pulling from you, whereas mentoring is telling you, maybe the classic description is telling you how to do something, telling you what you need to do. So that's what, I think of MMA fighters here. That's what somebody, observing, you need to do that and not do that. And when you come in with a grapple, turn over to that. Not that I've ever done that or anything. And I'm going to think about golf now, and I don't know anything about golf bats or anything. But the golf, somebody observing something, it's the wonderful thing you don't have, that third person view of yourself and what you say and how you say things and how you come across, and from a different perspective. It's like, you do that. Do I? So try that. How does it feel when you... So all these different things of both pulling, asking questions, but pushing, giving advice, giving a direction, telling a path of what you need to do. Both of these are blended on the approach that I have on the program. So you can come and find out more about that. But I think what you need when you're in that position, when you have that lower self-esteem, that 80% of people have that propensity for negative thinking, you need to work with somebody that's a good coach, but also somebody that can identify with it, give you a path and a structure to follow, who's also experienced that. Not that, you know, you only work with Tiger, who's better than Tiger Woods, for example. And I'm not into me golfing, but Tiger Woods didn't look for somebody who was better than him to be able to then say, I respect you as an expert. That's not what mentoring or coaching is about. It's, yes, you need your coaching credentials and everything to understand all the sticks and bats and things like that. But it's that the coach can pull from you your resourcefulness and feed back some of the things that you need to observe about yourself. That's the approach that we take on the program, and you can come and find out more about it. So my invitation to you is to identify what you want to improve. What is that glass ceiling? What do you want to break through? What do you want your transformation to be? What do you want to change in your life? And in terms of coaching and mentoring, like I say, Tiger Woods doesn't have somebody better than him because he's the best in the world. So who do you choose then? It gets a bit limited. But he wants somebody that has experienced some of the things that he's experienced. He wants somebody that understands the game, and that's just a bit more than the sticks. So you want somebody that understands this thing of this 80%, that understands this propensity for negative thinking, and who's worked through that, who understands how to take people on the journey of getting over that, of overcoming that. So to understand a little bit about how we take you through that, how we can take people through that journey, come and check out the webinar. And in that is, at the end of that, it gives an option for a free conversation. So come and find out more. Again, if that resonates with you, again, if that is speaking to you of the difficulty of what's holding you back, perhaps in terms of a glass ceiling. If it isn't this 80%, you don't need me. You need somebody else, and that will speak to you, of whatever your challenge is, and getting a coach and mentor who resonates on that speaks to you. But if this speaks to you of the struggle of the negative thinking, even if you don't realize that it's your own negative thinking that's holding you back, your self-belief, check out my other videos. But if you're stuck in this cycle and you're self-sabotaging, maybe it's time to take a leap of faith and come and find out at least about how it works. So that's 13 minutes. Sorry to take so much of your time. Thank you for giving me so much of your time. And do get in contact. Speak to you soon. Or yes, take the test if you haven't taken the test already, and all that sort of stuff. Get involved. Share this stuff. If you know anybody that plays golf and swings their sticks in a certain way, maybe they need a sports coach, because I'm not the person to help them with that. But if they have low self-worth, that is a different thing altogether. Many thanks. Speak to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.